If you saw your own death, every betrayal, every scream, every corpse, would you still be you? You thought Eren Yeager chose the rumbling, that's the story you tell yourself. But here's the truth that should freeze your blood. The moment he kissed Historia's hand, Eren ceased to exist. What remained was a hollow witness. A consciousness condemned to watch itself perform a script written in Eldian blood 2,000 years before his first breath. This isn't character development, this is a deterministic execution. Think about it. Really think. You wake up tomorrow and suddenly remember dying. Not metaphorically. You remember the exact sensation of your skull cracking open. You remember your children screaming your name as they burn. You remember the taste of your best friend's blood in your mouth. And here's the twist. You remember causing it all. That's Eren's Tuesday. Every single day after that ceremony, the Attack Titan doesn't grant vision of the future as some mystical gift. It's a curse of omniscience. It forces its host to experience every possible timeline simultaneously while being shackled to one predetermined path. You want to know why Eren looks dead inside during Season 4? It's because he is dead. The Eren who screamed, "I'll kill every last Titan," died the second he touched royal blood. What you're watching is a philosophical zombie. A body moving through motions it's already seen itself complete. You thought he was becoming a master strategist? He wasn't planning anything, he was remembering. Every decision was just him following breadcrumbs he'd already eaten. And you called this freedom. Let me introduce you to a concept from game theory: escalation of commitment. When a gambler loses everything, they don't walk away. They bet harder. Why? Because if they stop, all previous losses become meaningless. The only way to justify the hemorrhage is to believe the next bet will recover everything. Eren didn't just inherit the Attack Titan's power, he inherited its DBT. 2,000 years of revenge economics. Ymir Fritz, a slave who gained godlike power and did absolutely nothing with it except serve her abusers for 2 millennia. Why? Sunk cost. She'd already suffered so much that stopping would mean admitting it was all pointless. She kept going, and going, and going. Every Attack Titan holder before Eren told themselves the same lie. I'm moving forward. I'm fighting for freedom. Kruger tortured his own people. Grisha destroyed a family. Each one sacrificing more, digging deeper, convinced that the next atrocity would finally balance the ledger. Then comes Eren, the final inheritor of this gambler's ruin. He sacrificed his mother, let her get eaten to ensure his younger self would hate Titans enough to start this whole nightmare. He sacrificed his humanity, became the very monster he swore to destroy. He sacrificed Sasha, Hang, his relationship with Mikasa and Armin. Why? Because if he stopped, if he admitted that maybe, just maybe, there was another way, then his mother died for nothing. Carla's death would transform from tragic necessity to pointless murder, and Eren's psyche couldn't survive that realization. So he kept betting, kept escalating, convinced himself that murdering 80% of humanity would somehow make his mother's death retroactively meaningful. This isn't the psychology of a master strategist. This is the psychology of an addict who can't stop because stopping means confronting the void. Season 4, Eren. The internet lost its collective mind. Chad Eren, Giga Chad, the cold, calculated warrior who had finally grown up. Let me tell you what you were actually watching. Clinical dissociation. When a human mind experiences trauma it cannot process, it fractures. It creates distance between the conscious self and the unbearable reality. Psychologists call this depersonalization. The feeling of watching yourself from outside your body, like you're a character in a movie you can't turn off. Now imagine that trauma isn't one event, it's every event, simultaneously, forever. Eren doesn't just remember his future. He remembers Grisha's past. He remembers Kruger's murders. He carries the accumulated memories of every single Attack Titan holder plus glimpses of every possible timeline through the Founding Titan's power. His skull is a mass grave of consciousness. That stoic expression everyone worshipped? That's not strength. That's a nervous system that's completely shut down to avoid total psychological collapse. The Eren you knew, the kid who cried when Hannes died, who screamed about freedom, who blushed around Mikasa, that person drowned in an ocean of foreign memories. What remained was a vessel, a biological puppet operated by the collective trauma of 2,000 years of Eldian suffering. Want proof? That scene where he apologizes to Ramsey, to the refugee child, he knows he's about to crush into paste. You want proof? That scene where he apologizes to Ramsey, to the refugee child, he knows he's about to crush into paste. He's crying. He's begging forgiveness. But his feet keep walking toward Marley. His hands keep setting the plan in motion. He's not crying because he's sad. He's crying because he's a passenger in his own body watching himself commit genocide while being utterly incapable of stopping. The real Eren died in that medal ceremony. Everything after is just his corpse performing a play. Everyone talks about the paths, like it's some mystical dimension, the cosmic subway system of Eldian DNA. Wrong. The paths isn't a place, it's a condition. It's what happens when consciousness becomes untethered from linear time. Imagine a prison where you're forced to watch your entire life on a screen, birth to death, on loop, forever. You can't look away, you can't close your eyes. Every decision, every mistake, every moment of joy and agony playing simultaneously. That's Eren's existence after the medal ceremony. In the paths, causality is a circle. Past, present, and future collapse into a single frozen moment. Eren didn't see the futures like a prophet. He experienced his entire timeline as a static object, birth and death existing in the same eternal instant. Here's the philosophical horror: if you can see your future and you know you can't change it, are you making choices, or are you just fulfilling observations? Eren knew he would push Mikasa away. He knew he'd tell her he hated her. He knew it was a lie designed to protect her. But he also knew he would say it anyway because he'd already seen himself say it. There's no decision, there's only reenactment. The founding Titan didn't give Eren power over time. It gave him the curse of experiencing time as a closed system, a cage where free will is just the ritual of performing actions you've already witnessed yourself complete. You know what that means? Every time Eren talked about freedom, every passionate speech, every declaration that he'd keep moving forward, he was a prisoner begging his cell walls to disappear, while knowing they never would. Freedom was always the coolest lie the paths could tell. Let's talk about strategy for a moment. A true strategist does three things: analyzes the board, identifies leverage points, and creates new futures. Sun Tzu, Clausewitz, Boyd, they all understood that strategy is about generating options. Eren did none of this. He wasn't a strategist. He was a historian trapped in a time loop, ensuring that history repeats itself exactly as he'd already witnessed. Look at the rumbling. Everyone frames it as Eren's master plan, his brutal solution to an impossible problem. But here's what you missed. Eren didn't choose the rumbling. He was always going to do it because he'd already seen himself do it. The entire final arc is Eren trying to create the conditions for Mikasa to make a choice he'd already seen her make. He wasn't playing 4D chess. He was a stage director, ensuring the actors hit their marks for a play that had already been performed. The genius wasn't in his planning. The tragedy is that there was no planning, just a traumatized child with the memories of a god, walking step by step toward a massacre he couldn't prevent because preventing it would create a paradox that would unravel his sanity. You want to know the ultimate irony? Eren sought freedom in a world built on deterministic chains. And in the end, he discovered that knowledge wasn't power. Knowledge was the cage. So when you ask me, was Eren right or wrong? You're asking the wrong question. The question isn't about morality, it's about agency. Was Eren Yeager ever truly Eren? Or was he always just the Attack Titan's final hallucination of freedom, a consciousness experiencing the ultimate horror of omniscient slavery? He didn't become a monster. He became a prophecy fulfilling itself. The kid who screamed "I'm free" while breaking his chains was destined to become the man who whispered "I had no choice" while crushing the world. And the worst part, the part that should haunt you, is that somewhere in the paths, in that frozen eternity outside time, Eren is still trapped. Still watching. Still knowing. Still unable to change a single thing. Freedom was always the lie we tell ourselves before the walls close in.